For the record, my name is Delegate Steve Aarons, 36th District. Today I bring you House Bill 669, Public Boards of Education Anonymous Two-Way Electronic Tip Programs. The purpose of the bill is authorizing the County Board of Education to establish an anonymous two-way electronic tip to publicize the program in certain locations and venues requiring completion of a victim bullying, harassment, or intimidation report or drug selling. The anonymous two-way tip electronic authorizes the governor to include funding in the state budget to provide grants to county boards to establish a certain program established that this information received anonymously. Ladies and gentlemen, this bill quite simply is a bullying piece that is utilizing the kids' cell phones. If you all understand right now, our children and our friends, we all communicate via text, and this bill establishes an anonymous way of doing that. So if they see two people fighting in a corner, they can anonymously text to a number and get a real live person on the other end who can communicate that problem immediately so they can get some action on the problem. In the interest of time, sir, this bill passed over in the House unanimously. We've had this here in front of our committee in the House 2 years, and we've refined it to bring it out to an electronic tip program. And I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Butler real quick, if you don't mind, so he can give you a little explanation.
Good afternoon. My name is Alvin Butler. I'm president of Text to Them and the executive director of nonprofit Text to Stop It. More important than that, I'm a 40-year resident of Prince George's County and put 3 kids and 2 grandkids into the Maryland school system. I'm here to support House Bill 669. 4 years ago, we piloted a program in Queen Anne's County, Maryland called Text to Stop It. This program allows students to report bullying and other harmful activities in their schools by anonymous two-way texting. The way it works is that when a student witnesses anything they wish to report, they simply text a keyword to a number and anonymously report the information to Text to Stop It operators, who are available 24/7, 365 days a week. The person reporting is then engaged in a two-way conversation whereby Text to Stop It obtains details including dates, places, witnesses, perpetrators, etc. A transcript, which I've attached a couple redacted copies of in my submitted testimony, is then immediately sent to the school counselor or other designated school administrator for action. We are not counselors, we are facilitators. We provide an electronic communication platform that students prefer while allowing them to remain anonymous. Not only are students reporting bullying, but also drug use, drug dealers, suicides, and more. To date, we've intervened in 7 suicides, one of which was a suicide pact where several students had planned to commit suicide together, and this is just in Queen Anne's County. In addition, just in the 10 schools in Queen Anne's County, we've covered drug dealers in half the middle schools and high schools in which we're in. And Queen Anne's County is considered a great school district. We are now in the 4th year of the program in Queen Anne's County, and during this time, bullying is down over 60%, and you have the state figures attached to my testimony as well. And the culture itself is changing. Expecting students to go to the school's bullying and harassment webpage and complete a form that requires them to first give their name is not only impractical, but improbable. Even going to a counselor is intimidating for most students. Furthermore, the current bullying procedures don't even mention how to report drugs, suicide, weapons, human trafficking, and all the other things that students are faced with. We know for a fact this program saved lives in Queen Anne's County. We know it will save many more lives if implemented statewide.
Yes, sir. Seeing as the time is going by, I'll make it rather brief. My name is Liam Kim. I'm currently a senior at Wheaton High School in Montgomery County Public Schools. I'm here again to testify in favor of House Bill 669. Basically, as you've already heard what this bill does, it provides that linkage between a student and someone who can really help them. As you've heard from some of the previous and another bill that you're going to hear from, mental health, depression, and suicide are huge problems that are occurring, especially in the new generation. Bullying is one of the major causes of this, and it's one of those things that kind of goes unseen, but really has an impact, and I know that from personal experience. This tip line would allow us to save those students' lives, essentially. As you've already heard in Queen Anne's County, which is a relatively smaller county compared to mine, they've already managed to save 7 lives, and I can only imagine how many lives in my school system would be saved if this bill were to be implemented. Currently, the method being used is unreliable and just really doesn't work in general. It's a bullying and harassment form. You have to print it out, you have to fill out all the information and turn it directly to an administrator or a principal. You don't get time off of class to do that. You can't really do it during lunch because administrators are walking around. And if you walk into their office and they're about to leave, you're out of luck. And this is reporting an incident that could hurt a student's life. All I'm really trying to say here is that the current method that we use really doesn't work, and this is really the best way for us to do it. The 21st century is here, and texting is the way that students communicate. This would allow us as students to be able to talk to someone who could in turn talk to another person to help us out. As you've already heard, it does end up reporting to administration, so nothing goes, below board. Right now, in order to help friends at my school, I take my personal phone number and put it on a huge sign and leave it in the billboards around my school, because I know that if anyone needs to talk, they can come to me, and I'll always be willing to do that. But I'm a senior, and I'm leaving this year. I've done that for 4 years, but I won't be there next year, and I can only imagine how many students would suffer without this bill being there to help them. I thank you very much for your time, and I hope that you can support House Bill 669. Thank you.
Can any jurisdiction do this now, or are they prohibited?
They're not prohibited, but one of the impetus for this was that we have been going to the schools on a regular basis saying we have to do something about this.
Right.
And if you attended, I ended up putting this in Queen Anne's County when I was a commissioner over there because I saw the need. The schools aren't reacting. If you look at some of the statistics in your packet that you have, you'll see that we have horrendous bullying records, and they're not doing enough. And we keep going to them and saying, what is your plan to help these children? And what is your plan moving forward for this? It's become almost an epidemic out there. This thing, again, this program is now helping us with several other areas, too. When you look at the drug opioids, you look at bullying, you look at profiling, you look at all that other stuff. This program is right there for them, and the schools just aren't doing anything.
Right. No, I'm not questioning the value, but as I read the bill, it said a county board may establish an anonymous two-way. So it doesn't even require them to do it, and I assume that came out of compromise in the House. Yes. But in the form it's in, it doesn't push the envelope other than to say there's law that says you may do it.
I would love for you to amend it back to the way it originally was to demand it, but we're just not doing enough for the children. And this was our way of saying it's now been out there. There's money. The governor could come forward with some dollars for it, but now you may do it, and please start acting on it. And
my final question, I think, how much does it cost the school system? Is it free?
No.
On average, it's about $1.25 per student per year.
Okay, and so in Queen Anne's County, the school system put aside money to fund this?
Yes.
Yes.
And again, you said it quickly. It's a nonprofit or a profit, this text to your organization?
Yeah, the technology was designed by a for-profit company, Text to Them, and we formed a nonprofit. And quite frankly, the reason we did it is looking for donations to try to put this program into the schools. We've been searching every avenue we can to get funding in order to implement this program because we know we're saving lives.
Great.